Hi, everybody. It's Colleen Pearl, the Cool Crone, and my sister, Cleo the Seer. Hi, Cleo.
Hi.
And we're here to talk some politics. There's a lot of stuff happening right now, fallout from the so-called assassination attempt for DJT. And we just want to try to make sense of it like everybody else does want to do. And we have a few things to say about it. So we're going to just talk about it a little bit. So, Cleo, I think you have a lot on your mind. I think
I do have a lot on my mind.
you should go ahead and just start talking.
Because I saw this incident that just occurred with Donald Trump at a rally. I didn't know he'd be at a rally, but I saw this visually almost a year ago. Then after the trial where he was convicted of 34 felonies, then I saw it more big time. It was starting to make sense. That first thing I saw, what I see when you see the thing on TV where Trump looks around and then all of a sudden goes behind the podium, that's exactly what I saw. But I thought that he collapsed behind the podium, which he didn't. He just dove down there to get away from bullets. And so anyway, what I really noticed with the thing that came up around the time when he was convicted is that he's got a lot of enemies now, because the people and these are people that used to support him, and now they are not, and they're irate, they're pissed off. And the reason they are is because when they started watching that trial where they thought, oh no, he didn't do anything, he was with a porn star, who cares? But no, the evidence that came up during that trial exposed what Trump has been doing all along. And it emphasized the lies. It emphasized what he would do to avoid prosecution, just how far he would go. It mixed in with the real estate things and the loans and stuff with that other trial. But mainly with this one, then that they thought that Trump's side thought was probably going to go nowhere. No. A lot of Trump supporters were watching that closely, because the more they watched it, the madder they got. They realized that they are being used. And that's exactly what he's doing on his campaign now. He's using people to fight his fight. Where the other people, they don't want to fight. They just want the world to operate the way it's supposed to. So when they took a pot shot at him, I was not the least bit surprised. A couple of things did surprise me. The age of the shooter surprised me.
Yeah.
So young, 20, just shy of 21 years old. But and also the timing on it, like right before the convention, which, boy, I mean, he was so lucky. I know that we were just talking about that maybe that wasn't actually a bullet that hit his ear, that it might have been shrapnel or something. I don't know about that. I just know that he came very close to getting shot in the head, and that would have just been horrible, absolutely horrible. Mm-hmm. As much as I don't care for Trump, I certainly would not wish anybody to be shot in the head. Just, an assassination is just horrible. I mean, we didn't, maybe not you, a lot of people, but
no, nobody's wishing ill on anybody else, no matter how much you disagree with their politics,
right,
or their policies. No, nobody wants that. And in fact, it's better if Trump is whole and hearty, so that he can pay what he owes to society, goes to jail or whatever.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that goes right along with what I saw when I saw that he fell back from the podium, but I didn't feel that he was shot dead, or I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if he'd had a heart attack, if he just fainted, if somebody shot at him. I didn't know from the visions that I saw. Okay. And then when I go into 2025, I'm thinking, well, no, it's certain, whatever happened, he's certainly not dead, because 2025 shows me that Biden, of course, becomes president, and Trump still has to face all these things that we've been hearing about, all these court
Right.
cases. And I see that definitely happening in 2025. So I'm really thankful that he was not killed, because he needs to go through this process, and we need to all see it. We need to understand that you can't do those kind of things. And right now it looks like he can get away with anything. Plus the thing with the Supreme Court, I mean, all that stuff next year will just be totally changed. But for right now, that's why I felt like whatever had gone on just didn't fit with what I was seeing with 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Now they are, the other thing that is, when as soon as some people found out that he was doing the Project 2025, that was the agenda, his first 180 days in office for Trump, that another group of people now, they're just like, whoa, no, wait a minute. I was for the man, but I am not for an authoritarian government.
Yeah.
I am not for a kangaroo court called the Supreme Court. I am not for uh, ruining our democracy. Nobody wants that. Now, oh God, the Republicans are totally taking a reverse, saying that the Democrats made this up. No, 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 no. Democrats never made this up.
No.
You'd have
No.
to be, and to get that kind of story going. I mean, I don't know if you've looked at it, but Project 2025 is out there. It's on the internet. It's on YouTube. It's 977 pages of stuff that Trump tries to claim now that he didn't know anything about. Although that, I don't know, more than half, maybe 3/4 of the people that are on the panel or committee that created this thing through the Heritage Foundation, they are all people that worked for Trump when he was in the White House. So, please, Trump knew exactly what was going on. Now, this, okay. Sherry says the doctors have confirmed that he was hit by glass from the teleprompter.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That does make
Thank
sense.
you, Sherry. That makes a lot of sense.
Thank you, Sherry. I hadn't heard that yet. I just heard other people talking about possible shrapnel or something.
Yeah, that's what Linda G was
Really,
saying.
you see when he turns his head and he grabs his ear, a bullet from an AR-15 or whatever those things are called would have taken the top of your ear right off.
Yeah, his ear would be like from here down would be gone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it would be gone.
So,
and it would have been a hell of a lot more blood. A hell of a lot, because it probably would have also involved skin along the side of his skull as it went. The little glass thing, then that makes sense, because even the blood spurt that went across his cheek like that, it makes sense now how it went, So anyway, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Well, no, that's perfect. Like I said, I'm so glad that Sherry got that information to us, because what others have said is that Trump didn't really want that to come out, because it looks so much more better for him somehow that he was nearly assassinated. Well, that it's still an assassination attempt. It's still a horrible thing. It's still, like I said, I mean, I'm not a Trump fan at all, but I am not. I can't condone at all any of this kind of violence. Shooting somebody, no, 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 no. And we want Trump to survive it. We want Trump to get through this. We want him to go ahead and run for president. He absolutely is not going to get it, because, again, the people of the United States, the voters of the United States, do not want somebody that's carrying so much baggage and such a con man and such a liar. And they're starting finally to see this year, especially, of his contribution has nothing to do with helping the American people. It has to do with the American people helping him to fight what he is saying is a corrupt government that he wants to lead now because he wants to be king. He wants to be a dictator.
Mhm.
And, you know, I saw a couple Republicans saying that this is what is said, but it's not true. No, don't believe that. It absolutely is true. And we have Project 2025 to go back to verify that. That's exactly what Trump's wants. And, you know, like people are speculating, well, if he got it, we'd never get him out and he would just be there.
Yeah, it would be the last election we ever have.
But anyway, this thing about that, you know, that he was almost assassinated. To me, I know, even though it was shrapnel, yes, he was, and then somebody actually was killed. I think it was a man. At first, I'd heard
It was a man, and he actually got a bullet in his head right above his ear.
trying to protect his children.
Mhm.
I mean, that is so sad. That's just heartbreaking. And then the other people that are in the hospital right now, I don't know what kind of condition they're in, but you know, and I feel like the person that did this young man, he's got a serious mental illness, and this mental illness is across the country. This is just a in your face example of the mental illness that we're dealing with all the time. I know that in my area, there's shootings all the time where we never used to see stuff like that. And I'm just like, who knows what was behind it for him, for the kid that did it. The thing that he was a part of called the Demolition Ranch is not a, I thought at first it was some sort of a political thing. It's not political at all. It's a website put out by a veteran that it just inadvertently became very popular. Like it's been around for like 15 years or something.
Mhm.
And it has to do with guns and explosives. And it started out because he's a veteran, and it gave other veterans a chance to get together and talk about these kind of things. And anybody that was interested in guns and explosives. He also has another site called uh, Demolition Vets or something like that. Vet Ranch or something. I don't know.
Demolition Ranch? Demolition Ranch?
Demolition Ranch is the main one, but he's got
okay. Sorry. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I thought that originally was some sort of weird thing. Well, anyway, so this kid was a Republican. He was interested in guns. Obviously, he learned how to sharpshoot. I mean, he was very close.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really sad.
I'm very thankful that Donald Trump is okay, and it of not being. This could have been so much worse. Had that been an actual bullet that hit his ear, had it been just this much more, it would have gone right through his eye, and that, you know, that would have just been horrible.
Yeah.
It's pretty horrible that it happened at all.
Mm-hmm. It is. Well, I threw some cards on just what is the fallout for this event on the Republican Party, who is going on to have their convention. And they're very sad that it happened, but they are initially, they're kind of gearing up to fight back, to do that fight thing. I've got the Ace of Swords here, and they're picking up their swords. Then I have the Emperor. They all want to protect the Emperor, but there's a lot of infighting in the Republican Party, and especially the two factions, or several factions. I guess there's really three factions that are going to be at the convention. There is going to be quite a bit of contention amongst them, and i think that I think that I don't know how long shock lasts, but I'm pretty sure that Donald Trump would have gone into shock at some point yet last evening. And who knows how he respond to that. But I know that actual shock, a traumatic experience, and mental illness is a terrible combination, and a very can be a potentially dangerous combination for the person, because they might start manifesting ideations that are really different than what they usually do with their mental illness, and it can lead to, just delusions is what it can lead to. So that's very, very scary. I threw a couple of other cards just to ask, well, what will the fallout be of this? And there will be, of course, a lot of people defending Trump. This is the nine of pentacles, actually. With a lot of people just saying, we just want to keep our heads down and keep doing what he would want us to do. But then I also got the Queen of Swords. So again, the swords, and look at the picture on there.
Okay.
So you're going to get a lot of ladies, gun people who believe that they should protect their guns. And this is going to be another bone of contention amongst the Republicans that they're going to be, I think, a little afraid to bring up because MAGA is so gun oriented. And yet you're going to have a lot of people who are like, hey, we don't want this around. This is why, gun control is really important. And other Republicans are going to be like, well, you're not a real Republican if you can't go along with this. So I think that I stand by what I said in my astrology video for July. There's going to be a lot of contention around this convention amongst Republicans. So it's probably better that the whole thing isn't televised, because I think there's still going to be I think it'll be much subdued given the fallout of this attack. But I also still see that there will be some skirmishes. There will be, and they may just be verbal, it might not be physical, or certainly no violence there. But I mean, the planets are still in that place where violence is conceivable, is possible. And I just, the cards that I threw don't give me any super hopefulness that this will all be quelled, that it will be entirely subdued. I don't think it will be. I think there are still big, big disagreements in the party, and that is going to lead to big, big arguments. And I don't know how Trump's going to handle it. He's not up to it. He's just coming off of having a close call and coming out of shock. And so I think he's going to, and also I know in the news they were saying, they were surmising, who's going to allow the doctors to say what really has happened to Trump, because he might put a clamp on that. So I'm very surprised that we actually found out that it was just glass, because you would have thought he didn't want that out in the public, so that he could say, I took a bullet for you,
Well, and yeah, I do think that, if it's all possible, they're going to do everything they can to use this incident in Trump's favor, which,
they're going to canonize him over this.
oh
They're
yeah.
going to basically raise him up to sainthood.
Well, they've already said that one picture is like, I don't know, like the biggest thing ever, that the way Trump is like, hey, blood coming off his face and stuff.
And the flag in the background. Oh.
Yeah, and all these Secret Service around him. But there, somebody else had mentioned, and I don't know, I don't have any insight into this, but that the Secret Service allowed Trump to have more than half his body above them.
Yeah, why were they letting him do that? I'm like, you're crazy, man. You are making yourself a target. What if that guy isn't the only one?
Exactly. And so this is why a lot of people are thinking it was maybe a setup. I don't particularly think that. I think that we have a lot of crazy people in this world, and that this kid just thought that he would be held, that he's a patriot. I'm telling you, there is so many people out there. There's a lot of people that just love Trump, but some of those people have broken off from the group, and they're just getting to hate Trump because they feel used, they feel blindsided, they feel like he's lied to them, and they're just not happy about it. I'm not saying that every single one of them wants to do harm to him, but they're probably not going to vote for him. but I don't think they're going to vote for Biden either. So we've got another problem with that. And that's the other thing I think that will come up in the convention, is that they will focus on Biden being too old to do the job, and so they've got it in spades. It's going to be a landslide for Trump because of Biden not being accepted right now. Biden and all these Democrats that are constantly telling him to step down, it'll fade away eventually.
I think with the whole thing with Trump, I think didn't they kind of hold up on that, or no? Are they still
No,
saying
no, there's still that's still big news of,
oh
he
God.
needs to step down, even though he did the rally that he did in I think it was Michigan,
Mhm.
um, just the other day. Oh
Mhm.
God, that was amazing. It was just great. The whole crowd is saying, "We've got your back. We've got your
Oh
back."
yeah, yeah, I heard that one. That was great.
And,
Right.
he did a really, really good job. It was, I think somebody on Midas Touch mentioned that it was probably the best presidential speech of all time,
Oh
because
my God.
he finally, he came out and said some stuff against Trump. He came out and said, "This is what Trump's doing," and he great thing about Biden is when he says something, he's not lying. He may
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
may have trouble getting the sentences out because he has a stutter, and I guess, as the older you get, it might even be tougher to deal with. So yes, he's made some mistakes, and every time he makes a little mistake, that is the only thing they want to talk about. Like he
Mhm.
inadvertently called the guy from the Ukraine, the president of Ukraine, he inadvertently called him Putin.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name?
Zelensky.
Zelensky.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just it was a little mistake. Zelensky didn't think much of it, and he said it was, he made a little mistake. Yeah, big deal.
And he called Kamala, he instead of saying Kamala Harris, he said Trump.
He said Trump in
He
reference
made
to
two mistakes with two of the biggest names that people could recognize, but I don't care. Do you? I
yeah,
don't
and then they just came unglued and jumped all
yeah.
over him for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That was some big deal. It is no big deal. This whole thing, uh, I don't know exactly how it's going to blow over, but I just see that within the next few weeks and stuff, that's not going to be the issue, because Trump did survive, and it was a horrible thing, and we don't want to see anything like this happen again. But in the meantime, it doesn't change who Trump is. Trump is still a convicted
A
felon.
jerk? Oh, a convicted felon. That too.
And what did you just say?
I said a jerk? Yeah.
He's a jerk, but he's a convicted felon.
Yeah.
He's a rapist. He's a fraudster.
He's a pedophile.
Is is he?
Yes, there's photographic evidence that he is a pedophile.
Okay, he's a pedophile, and he is dishonest. He is a consummate liar, and he
Mhm.
has been for the whole time. And so when people start to, there is a lot of people right now, Republican, that were supporting him, that realize that they have been conned on their, that they believed his lies. So all of that really works against Trump. And what Biden is doing is he's telling you, this is what I've done. This is what Trump has done. And so who do you want? I can't believe it's such a big deal to try to figure out, do you want old Biden or do you want lying Trump? I mean, it's ridiculous that we're even
Yeah,
considering,
it is.
with all the things he's done. It's just craziness.
Yeah,
But
it's the
Biden
last
is
yeah.
talking about it now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's really good. And I also threw some cards on the effect of Trump being aligned with Project 2025. And it is bad for him. It is really bad because now people are starting to talk about 2025 in just the normal news where they weren't before. And they are connecting it to the Republican Party, to the Heritage Foundation, to Trump, to all the people in the Heritage Foundation who are connected to Trump, who are probably going to be, if not in his cabinet, at least a part of that administration. And this is very, very bad. He got bad cards. First of all, as the magician, he's going to try to skate away from it, which is what he's doing right now. But justice is there. They're not, the American people are not going to have it. They're not going to say, oh no, we're not that stupid. They're not going to just lay down and roll over for it. And the tide is going to turn. So his wheel of fortune is really changing. The money is going bye-bye. This is the Ace of Pentacles reversed. Money's going to dry up if it hasn't already. And it's no bueno. It's going to really stop the cycle. I also think that this shooting thing, I think this is also really pushing Trump towards choosing door number 3, which is to escape the country in order to get out from under his charges. I think this is just one more little crack in the wall where he's thinking, maybe I'm not going to make it. Maybe I'm not going to win. And maybe I should think about this, because think about, I mean, when he did that real quick dip down behind the podium, yeah, he knew what to do, but he was frightened.
Well, yeah.
He was really frightened. And just when he got up and the Secret Service swarmed him, the only other time he's had to be swarmed and moved out of the way was when he had to get moved into the bunker. And that wasn't January 6th. That was, what was that for? Do you remember this? I don't think it was January 6th. He had to be moved into the bunker for some other reason. Maybe I'm mixing it up. Maybe it was January 6th. If anybody knows in the chat, let me know. But he had to be moved into the bunker. And I think he was real scared at that time too. And I feel like that, what my guides have said is that brings up the feelings of danger and insecurity that he had around his father. Because his father was a dangerous man, and his father had a bad temper, and his father didn't treat him with love and kid gloves. He treated him like crap. And I feel like every time Trump is truly in trouble, that's what he feels. And that's why he has to stand up with all that so-called bravura and say, fight, fight, with that ugly look on his face. God, it's just all that ugly coming out from him. And I'm like, what? I mean, why don't you take like the Captain America stance? Hey, we're going to win, or I'm okay, or whatever. But instead he does that really ugly thing of, who are they going to fight? There was one guy.
Because what he's implying is that the reason somebody tried to shoot him was because of the Democrats. Just like he did with all his convictions, with all his trials. It's not, politically motivated. No, those were not politically motivated. So, yeah, he just
this
looking
is
at it like that. And he's also, you got to remember, all this stuff with his hearings or his trials, he's asking his supporters to be a part of it. Because he's saying, it's not just me, I'm doing this for you.
Yeah, so, that's why he wants to say he took a bullet.
Yeah, so he wants all these other supporters, the mega folks, to be the one to feel that, like he's doing something for them. He's doing it all for himself.
Oh, absolutely.
And some people, some of his followers are starting to realize that. Put that back up, Colleen, whatever it was that you had.
Peace Mama reminded me. It was the BLM protest, the one with the Bible, when he was holding the Bible upside down.
Yeah.
They had to bring in helicopters and spray the crowd and everything, and they put him in the bunker. And I remember after that, he was a little, you could tell that something, he'd been through a little something. It had affected him. And I think this one too, where he had to crouch down, that I I just got fear from him. I didn't get, oh, here's the drill and I'm going to do the. This is a guy who went to military school. You know, he went to military school. He should know how to at least act like a brave person. And he just doesn't. He just doesn't act like a brave person. And
But then you got Lindsey Graham coming on Meet the Press this morning where he said Trump is the bravest man I've ever met.
oh God, that butt licker. I mean, he would say that. He would stand behind a horse and let it kick him if he thought it would make Trump happy. I'm so sick of him. He's lost. I've lost all respect for him a long time ago. He's terrible. But I think the 2025 thing is really going to be bad for him. So
Well,
regardless,
I think this is what's going to come up at the convention, and like
yeah,
you say, it's not all going to be televised. And I think when it's not, because they couldn't televise all of it, but they will televise some of it. But that they're going to talk about that, and they're going to try to say, "Hey, we got to get the America to believe that we're not involved in this."
right.
Even though all these people that work for him they're named apparently.
Yeah, they're all authors. Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's one big thing. But also his silly platform isn't even worded well. It isn't even worded in terms of here's policies that we are going to set up and enforce. It's just stupid stuff. I'll pull it up and I'll read just a couple to you. No, not Project 25.
Bunker boy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Peace Mama. Oh,
Okay. 2024 Republican Party. Preamble, blah, 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 blah. Oh, now they have it in kind of a better thing. Okay, so here's their list of things that they're going to do. They're not even speaking in complete sentences. Seal the border and stop the immigrant invasion. Carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. End inflation and make America affordable again. And it just goes on like that. Let me skip a few.
they just they had an article about that today that Biden has deported. I don't know, a ton of people. I don't know if the article's real or not, but I think it said like more than Trump or something, and I'm like, well, I don't think that could happen like that fast, could it? But um, there is something going. The border thing. Biden is doing something about that, but not to, but he has to fight. He has to fight the GOP every step of the way. And Val just reminded me about the shark battery.
Oh yeah, the shark battery. Well, this is interesting. One of the things that they say, where is this one? Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. Does that? That's not even that sentence doesn't even make sense.
Well, I know, but what they're saying is so backwards and so wrong. And so, this DeSantis dude down there in Florida trying to stop people from having surgery.
I gotta read this one. This one is very funny. Okay, wait. Let me control myself. Okay. Prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and in the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country, all made in America.
Yeah, you're right. That's ridiculous. Makes no sense.
Oh,
the Project 2025 and the first 180 days of Trump is designed to turn things back to, to the 50s is what I think. But this idea that when they start attacking people about their sexual orientation and transgender and stuff, I'm like, what the hell? Where are you coming from?
That cow left the barn 50 years ago. You cannot do that. It's just not going to happen. And these 20 things that they have listed here, they're not necessarily just Project 2025. This is just somebody sitting on the can coming up with a bunch of ideas on a roll of toilet paper, and then they wrote them down, and nobody edited this list. It's terrible. Here we go. Here's one that I think this goes against Project 2025. Fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to the retirement age. Do they even know what the retirement age is? I doubt it. And then right after that, it says cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome regulations.
Yeah, and keep
Oh,
this
God.
way.
Here's a good one. This is on the Republican platform. Hang on, it's worth it. Keep women out of men's sports. That's what says that. And the last one says, unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. We are there. We already are at record-breaking levels of success by most metrics in the globe, you know?
Well, let me tell you that part of what I wrote down from an article, I think it was just yesterday or the day before, from somebody named, he's a representative, he's a Republican from Wisconsin, and his name is Glenn Grothman.
Okay.
And he said that the angry feminist movement of emasculating men and said that the U.S. should work our way back to 1960. And if former President Donald Trump wins in November, that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
They want to stop the angry feminist movement of emasculating men.
Hey, if you want to get a good idea of what they want for Project 2025, you should watch one of two shows or both of them. One is The Handmaid's Tale, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to create Gilead. And the other one is a show called The Man in the High Castle, and it's on Amazon.
Yeah.
If you guys watch those shows, they're fabulous shows, but they do have a ring of the dystopian type of picture that Project 2025 is trying to create. I have another great one.
Let me tell you something real quick.
Okay. This is very funny.
Going back to the feminist movement, particularly in the 60s, when women were going to ban the bra, I'm telling you, there was no man that said, oh, no, don't do that.
No, there was no man. They're like, really? Okay, yeah, let's go. And don't forget, there was a lot of those, white, really clean cut, crew cut corporate boys who loved the idea of smoking a little weed and seeing the girls without the tops on and the bras and everything. I mean, they loved it.
Rock and roll. Come on.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. Oh, it's bad. Okay, so this is a fun one too. This is number 6 on this has got to be Trump. Trump wrote this while he was sitting on the toilet. I just can see it. So it says large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips.
What?
Large tax cuts for workers. So he, to him, there's him and his friends, and then all the rest of the world.
Well, for every tax cut that he proposes, he has a different way. It's not going to come from, the money has to come from somewhere. So they make up other things. Like when he said that he wants to get rid of income tax, but install and still have tariffs, which I'm telling you, the tariff move brings up probably 4 or 5 times of what you're already paying in income tax. So, you know, it's just another way he's trying to fool the public. He's not fooling
Oh
anybody.
God, he thinks he's so tricky, and he's just not. He's just not tricky at all. Okay, I have to read another one. Rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Well, there's a lot of cities in the U.S. that are beautiful right now.
Exactly.
Like, what are you saying, mofo? You saying my city ain't beautiful? You know, come on.
Well, it's just like the same thing as saying make America great again, going back to 2016, and his big thing is make America great again is absolute BS. America has always been great. I mean, especially coming off of Obama, please.
Yeah.
We were just cruising. We never could have imagined that we were going to run into Donald Trump and just the earth fell off its axis that day. So yeah, I mean, you know, everything he's done is a constant lie.
Wow.
America has and will be always great.
Wow, they've really been. I think I first stumbled on this list about a week or 10 days ago. And since then, they have added this a preamble to America First, a return to common sense. I wish I could read it, but I don't want to throw up. So I'm probably not going to read it, but maybe I will. I might read it so you don't have to.
Well, somebody on here said, before you get into that, well, first of all, it's Brado, and she says that the tariffs will raise the cost. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
And also that they want to get rid of homeless. That's one of her statements. And then right below that, she says, while making people homeless. Isn't that the truth?
It is so true.
The truth.
It's so true. I mean, his stuff is just nonsensical. Where was it? This one of the last ones, just nonsensical. Oh, I can't find it, but you know, here we go. Number 10 says, return to peace through strength. That's a platform. Okay. And then one says, government of, by, and for the people. Well, you know, that's a lie because he wants to rule like a monarch. So that's a lie.
He wants to be king, and he doesn't ever want to step down. And he wants blanket immunity, which he's getting with his friends in the Supreme Court. These are all those things that when Biden gets reelected, that is just going to change. And I'm telling you, that's the reason I knew that anything that comes up with about an assassination attempt on Trump probably wasn't going to happen. Well, he would not be assassinated because I see him going through courtroom after courtroom in 2025. He has got to face the music. He has got to face that he has done some things wrong. And
right.
And as you know, as far as he will not be able to say, well, I'm campaigning for president, so that's why they're doing this. No, that's never been why they're doing this. And you know, the other people that have supported him so much, I'm telling you, like I said, there's a lot of people that are mad about this. Wait till next year. You think you're mad now? Wait till you see what really comes out of this mess. The honest to God truth of what Trump has been up to. Just like when the guy from the Inquirer was saying, yeah, we just made up stories that were in Trump's favor.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, well, you can do that? Well, sure they can. Freedom of the press, they can do anything they want.
Yeah.
Just like right now, where you obviously see all this stuff against Biden nitpicking. The little, you know, he forgot somebody's name or he said it wrong or, you know, he had a bad debate. Well, you know, they'll never let that go. But, you know, they don't focus on, okay, so Biden made a mistake about a name. Trump made a mistake about having an affair with a porn star or, you know, hush money.
And he made a mistake about who the last goddamn president was.
And that too. But I mean, you know, they don't go to it's really not very fair. And I guess it's because what Colleen had told me a week or two ago that I didn't know is that most of these networks are Republican backed, and Republicans in those networks. So they only give you the little bit of news they want to put out there. So when you're seeing this stuff on the news about how terrible Biden's doing and that, everybody wants him to step down, if you look at the articles closer, some of these Democrats like Nancy Pelosi, she's not really saying step down. She's saying, let's see what Joe wants to do, but also let's look at this. It'd be ridiculous not for us to look at this.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually a good thing that it's come up, but I sure don't like it because that should not be our focus. Our focus should be look at what the competition has to offer, which is absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Well, when Ronald Reagan in his second term, he had real bad Alzheimer's. And so the country was essentially being run by Nancy Reagan. That's the way it was. They would not let anybody know how ill Ronald Reagan was, because he had been such a icon, such a legend for everybody. They just didn't want to ruin that image
too. I mean, he had his appearance, the way he came across, he spoke so well. He was an actor. He did really good at acting to be president.
Yeah,
and he did some big things that weren't really expected at the time, and I didn't think were really very good. I mean, became really hard on the homeless and the mentally ill.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That Reagan did. But yeah, no, with what's going on with right now with Biden, like tomorrow night, he's going to have this interview. I guarantee that if he says one little thing or pauses too long or confuses his words, that's what you're going to hear about on the news. So be sure, if you're unclear about things that are going on here, look at YouTube, look at Midas Touch, look at
David Pakman is another good one.
That one too. Some of these other people on YouTube, because they are not controlled by a Republican controlled network.
Right.
They can go ahead and say when they're telling you the truth. It was the guy from Midas Touch that was saying that the speech that Biden gave in Michigan was probably the best presidential speech we've ever heard.
Wow, I'm gonna have to listen to it.
When you hear that, you're like, well, then why isn't it brought up? I saw a thing on the news about it. They said, well, yeah, Biden, he did this thing in Michigan, and then they showed a small group of people in a room, like like a senior center, with Biden talking to people. No, these were. I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this, and they're not showing the whole thing. I'd already seen the whole thing on YouTube. Thousands and thousands of people, the ones that were screaming, "We've got your back," and "Hang in there, Joe," and totally supporting him, because that is really where it's at with this. Because people know the difference. You do not want Trump. You don't want the authoritarian. That'll be the other thing after the GOP convention, is they're going to try to eliminate this word authoritarian. Well, good luck. It will stay the same.
Yeah.
So anyway, you get your best news off of YouTube.
Yeah, you definitely do. I thought it was curious that Trump, prior to this rally in Pennsylvania, was putting out tweets that were saying, it's going to be wild. We're going to bust loose. It's going to be a hell of a day. We've got big announcements to make. I wonder what he was going to do. I wonder what his plans were, because they got cut off.
Was he talking about the convention?
No, he was talking about his rally that night. The one where he had the guy shot him,
Okay.
So he was making, how he always does. He puts out a big teaser saying, oh, it's going to be so great, going to be so great. And, usually he's saying some other thing, but he also said things like this before January 6th. Now, I'm not intimating at all that there was some kind of planned agenda with the shooter. I'm not trying to connect those two things. But I do think that Trump is trying to send out dog whistles or signals to people that, he's gearing up for another kind of January 6th kind of thing. Because he likes that. He likes that he's got like this secret code that he can put into the media, and then all of his, boys on the ground know what he's talking about, and they start doing their thing. I don't know. Is Roger Stone in jail right now, or is he out free?
I don't know, but that other fool is that's
He's in Steve Bannon. He's in
Steve
jail.
Bannon. Yeah,
But
he's in
if
jail.
you have like a Michael Flynn or a Steve Bannon or a Roger Stone or there's probably a few others.
Well, all Trump's cronies are convicts and felons. Joe Biden doesn't have that.
No, he
His
doesn't.
people working for him, they're not ex felons or current felons. No.
And a lot of them are ex-lawyers now because they
Well,
all got disbarred.
yeah, well, Giuliani, he just
No, no, but like half a dozen lawyers that are affiliated
right.
with Trump have been disbarred. Like it's no joke. It's the fastest way to lose your law license is to work with him. So, but I'm just what I'm saying is Trump hasn't fulfilled that promise yet. So there is something coming that will fulfill that promise. Even if it fails, he's promising that it's going to be wild. You got to be there. We got something big coming on, big announcement. And he wasn't able to make it at that rally. So I don't know if it's appropriate for him to make it at the convention or not, but there's something else going on. What do you
Okay,
think?
so artist Liz says
Uh-huh.
Trump sent out an email to supporters. All hell breaks loose in 1 hour, Trump wrote.
Yeah.
I could be making a major announcement that's
Mm-hmm.
sure to strike fear into the hearts of our deep state enemies. Wow. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. So there's something that he
thank you,
was
artist Liz.
trying to set up. Thank you. Thank you very much for letting me know. I, I'm full of all sorts of like quarter truths. I don't have the whole story on any of it. I apologize for that. But yeah, I mean, he's a big one to make these big pronouncements, but I think,
Yeah, they're gonna announce the VP. They're trying to make that a big deal. Um, who cares? I mean, whoever the VP is, Trump's not going to pay any attention to the VP. Did he ever pay any attention to Mike Pence? Hell no.
as Linda G said on her channel, the only thing he needs to know about his VP is his neck size. Okay, let that just sink in for a minute. But I think that, Trump has a big problem on his hands because he's got to satisfy all these people in order to really snag the nomination. Otherwise, I think there's going to be big fights. I don't think they're going to come to a nomination.
Well, I saw before this incident with the attempted assassination that there was going to be a lot of infighting at the convention. I'm talking about a slugfest, people
Yes.
hitting each other and
Yeah,
stuff.
me too. That's what I thought too before then.
But I think now everybody's going to be a little more subdued because they're all thinking, okay, regardless if it was a piece of glass or if it was an actual bullet, they came very, very close to losing their president, their nominated president.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the people who don't want him to be the nominee. The people who don't want him to be the nominee
They're still going to
don't. They'll be subdued, but they still don't want him to be the nominee. And there's a lot of evangelicals who are second guessing their choice too. So
and they're not going to emphasize it though, because they want Biden's group to be, they want the Democrats to be arguing about Biden. They love that.
Yeah, that's true, but they want a different Republican nominee.
Who would it be?
I
Nikki
think
Haley.
yeah, I think the evangelicals would want Nikki Haley. That's what I think. And I don't know if they'll succeed, but I do know that there's going to be contention and fighting about this. I don't know if they're going to swing fists or pull out their handguns. I'm not sure. But the astrology is rife with indicators for violence, disagreements, fighting, loud opinions, you know, behind the doors negotiations, because the Republican Party apparently is very, most of them are very upset about this platform that Trump put out before the convention. The convention is supposed to be where they solidify their platform, and he's just said, no, this is the platform. We don't have to waste time on at the convention on the platform. And I thought that the convention is where they solidified it.
Well, I
And
know
that's
that
and they're
a day or two ago, Nikki Haley was not going to be invited to the convention.
yeah.
Now she's not only been invited to the convention, but she's
Oh,
going to speak at the convention.
are you kidding? That's a huge change.
So yeah, that is a big change. And
Wow.
you know, as far as they're going to stick with Trump. It's going to be a Trump Biden rematch. Um, I would just love it if it wasn't. But you know, even the Republicans, they're pushing for the Democrats to get rid of Biden because they know that Biden can beat Trump. They know that.
But they're not going to be talking about that at the convention, are they?
Sure, they will.
Why? There's no Democrats there to talk to.
Because they want to boost their own egos. Like, watch them. Let's see if they don't finally get rid of Biden, and then we got a shoe in.
Well, that may be. They'll have a lot of time because they don't have to agree on a platform because Trump already did that for them. So,
Well, you know, I hope there still is the argument that I thought there would be, but I've got a feeling there.
so she says there's yeah, I agree. I agree. And then they vote on it at the convention, right? In more small meetings, not necessarily in the big group. I believe that's the way it goes, right? Lizzie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, they have no say. Yeah, this is right too. Cheryl Day says, I saw a woman who said she's been coming for 20 years. She said this is the first time they have no say at the convention. Yeah, they're pissed. They're really pissed. This is not like consensus building at all. He is a monarch. He
Well,
is,
it's already set in stone with Project 2025. This is
yeah,
what we're
but
going to do in the first 180 days. So why discuss it any further? That's it.
well, but Trump is deviating from Project 2025 in a couple of ways so that
And he's trying
so
to.
he can distance himself. The one is the Social Security and Medicare thing, saying that there will be no cuts and no change to the retirement age.
And you
But
know why? You know why? Why they want to do that? They're just going to let it go and let it fail on its own. They won't make any changes one way or the other. They want Social Security to fail by 2030 so that they can turn around and then make all the cuts and all that. No, they're not. They are acting one way, but really it's not to help anybody. It's to just say,
yeah,
let it fail on its own.
yeah, you're right.
Biden, on the other hand, actually wants to increase Social Security for everybody that's getting Social Security. So, yeah, be careful when you read stuff like that. Like, you know, that makes it look like, well, maybe the Social Security, we're not going to touch it. We're going to let it go. Yeah, they're going to let it go down the drain. They don't want to do anything that will bring the money back in and you know, try to find a solution to make sure that thing is still solvent. That's what they want. They want it to be insolvent by 2030. And then nobody gets anything, or maybe they get maybe half of what they ever got. I don't know. I mean, it's a terrible, terrible plan. And yeah, you do
Yeah,
not want the Republicans handling your Social Security or your Medicare.
and getting rid of the Department of Education.
Yes, what in the world? Why would anybody want to do that?
So one of the big tenets of Project 2025 is education, but their education. And what they have been doing probably since Trump was last in office is recruiting people who are aligned philosophically and ideologically with the Heritage Foundation to become teachers and administrators for the educational arm of Project 2025. So they'll remove anybody they'll dismantle the current Department of Education, and they'll set up educational programs to teach people mainly about Project 2025 and the way that Project 2025 will run the government. Once they do that, then it'll filter out to all of the states, basically.
Yeah, this is so scary.
It's what DeSantis has been doing in Florida.
And that's just nonsense.
And some of the other southern states. It is The Handmaid's Tale and The Man in the High Castle. It is that. It is total propaganda when it comes to education. It has nothing to do with listening to scientists or learning about languages. All of that is just, whatever language they want you to speak, that's what you're going to speak. And the way they want you to speak it, that's the way you're going to speak it. And oh, by the way, religion, you don't have a religion now. You are an evangelical Christian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's got a very Christian bent to it. Very, very Christian bent. So, yeah.
So, yeah, just absolutely. We just, but let's just see what happens at this convention. I see. I was, it's too bad this other thing occurred, because otherwise it would have been so much more interesting to see the infighting of the Republicans at the convention. But, we'll just see what happens. But I'm just hoping that Biden does well on his speech on Monday night. And, Colleen and I are coming back on Tuesday to talk about this further, and we'll know more about the convention then. But as far as trying to figure out what's going to happen with it right now, again, I tell you, and I've been saying this all year long, the energy around the politics is so erratic, and it's just so difficult to keep up with, and just like one time you think you got something down, and all of a sudden the Supreme Court says, oh no, blanket immunity. Then you think you got another thing down, and it's like, oh no, somebody tried to shoot Donald Trump. I mean, it's just so crazy that I can't keep up. But I did see this incident happening with Donald Trump. I did see something happening at a podium where he went down, and but I knew that he didn't die, because I could see that all this other stuff that's happening to him specifically in 2025. And I also see, without a doubt, President Biden becoming president in November. He will be reelected, and he will be our president in 2025.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's what we want. That is really, really what we want, because the alternative is unthinkable.
Exactly.
So it's been an hour, sister. I think we have pretty much covered the waterfront with this. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thanks for coming to my channel. On Tuesday, we will be on Cleo's channel, and we will be discussing, as she said, the interview and whatever we know about the RNC. But yeah, so that's what we know so far.
Yeah, thanks so much for everybody that came today, because this was a real last minute thing.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And so also, if you need to find out what's going on, you can also go to our community pages. There should be some information on there. Actually, I just today set up my community page, so I'm trying to act like I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for coming, and hopefully we'll see you on Tuesday. It's going to be also at 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific time. So see you later. Bye.